Hey DJ Tech Tools, it's Chris Brackley in the lab today looking at DJ headphones. Now, whenever any publication or website talks about DJ headphones, there are 50 people chime into the comments and say, oh, Sennheiser HD25s, don't need anything else. End of. So there you go, HD25s, they're really good, you could just buy those. Thanks for watching. Whoa. Hang on a minute. Now, HD25s, okay, they are a design classic. They really are an iconic DJ headphone. You can't argue with these headphones in terms of their durability and their sound quality. Very, very sort of neutral sound. They are a small on-ear sort of design. They're very comfortable. You can wear them for a long time because they're so light. They are all round just fantastic. Everything's replaceable as well. So from the cups themselves, the cable, the ear pads, you can get aftermarket pads for them as well. You can change for velour pads. You can change pretty much any part for these is readily available to you. You know, if you break a bit of these, next day you're going to be able to get that part from somewhere in the world. So, you know, they are unquestionably fantastic. They come in a couple of varieties. Mainly it's about the different cable length, and you can get a coil cable and stuff like that. This is the sort of good old classic short cable, right angle jack, which is really, really good for mixers like the Pioneer mixers where you've got the socket is on top. Overall, you know, what can you say about HD25s? You know, they're just a business. That's it, end of story. You've got the split headphone thing, which really, it's kind of more aimed at like your sort of video production kind of use and that kind of thing, because it keeps them very tightly in place, whereas for DJing obviously you need a bit more flexibility to move them around, get them on and off. You've got the one cup on one side rotates up and down, and you know, fantastic really. These bits do eventually kind of wear out, the little clips inside the where the slider mechanism is. My older pair that I've got are basically, they just kind of flop down to the bottom at the slightest provocation now. This pair are a little bit older, not too bad, and they're still going strong. But yeah, overall, as a design, they are timeless, endless, superb. But there are a few other models on the market now which have been kind of inspired by this on-ear, lightweight HD25 style design. So I've been taking a look at some of those as well. And what I've done for this, headphones are such a personal thing. They really are, like from the way that you use them to your taste in sound to just the actual fit on your head, like the size of your head. I've got quite a large head. So what I've done, these headphones have been all over the city of Newcastle on different DJs' heads over the past few weeks. I've been just, you know, giving them out to DJs that I know, getting them to use them for a gig, and then report back to me and let me know what they think. So talk about tech specs and stuff, that'll be on the website at djtechtools.com, so check out the article there. But this is more about the look and the feel and just the overall impression of them that we're going to talk about in this video. So this is the Nocs NS900. We're going to start with these. Now they are slightly different take on the HD25 sort of style. They've got this metal headband that goes right through, and that goes right around the outside of the headphones, so you're basically looking, to me, with my big head, I feel a bit like a Cyberman from Doctor Who because they come out so much. But it is a nice 70s vintage sort of retro styling, pretty replaceable and pretty repairable. You've got the Allen bolts on the side to adjust. You can tighten those up if you want to leave them slightly more fixed into place, or you can loosen them up if you want to be able to move them around. You have got a bit of flex back and forth. The actual cups are on the kind of like a ball joint kind of thing, so they do move side to side quite a lot, which was a concern when I saw these. Before I got hold of them, I actually thought they might be a little bit uncomfortable, but they're not too bad at all because of that ball joint. You can move them around on your head and you don't feel like you're getting squashed at any point. There is kind of a springiness to this metal headband which makes them feel a little bit tight on my sort of large head, but other DJs didn't really complain about that at all. Sound wise, they are a little bit more bass heavy than the HD25s. They're not quite as neutral. There's a little bit more oomph to the bottom end. And again, some people do prefer that, some people don't, but you don't lose clarity with it. You know, there's plenty of clarity in the mid and the tops. There's just a little bit more oomph to the bass. I think just perhaps down to the actual thickness of the pads and so on as well makes a difference. It's slightly more sort of echo chamber kind of effect and gives you a little bit more bass there. The actual cable that goes across the top here between the two cups is replaceable. That's a little mini jack that you've got in there, so you can whip that out easily. You've got a locking jack mechanism on the cable. Comes with this kind of half coiled, half straight cable, and a couple of phone cables as well. And yeah, if you want something a little bit different from the norm, something that's going to stand out a bit, while still retaining that kind of classic look, then definitely the NS900s are worth a look, I think. As I say, the sound quality not quite as neutral, which for me takes away from them ever so slightly, but that's my own taste. As I say, other DJs didn't complain about that so much, and they actually preferred them over some of the others here. So it's such a personal thing, headphones, it really, really is. Next up, the Aiaiai, the TMA-1s. Now let's just get rid of all this gubbins. These come with a phone cable, they come with a nice little bag, they come with a spare set of ear pads and so on, and you'll see these headphones around a lot now. Loads of DJs use them. They are very much sort of your new generation HD25s in that regard. Big DJs use these, a lot of them. And you can kind of see why. In terms of fit and comfort, they're very, very good. They're super lightweight, not quite as light as the HD25s, but pretty much there. And they're just really comfortable to wear. Really, really comfortable. Out of all of these are probably the most comfortable because they've got this sort of lightweight of the HD25s, but with the slightly thicker pads on them, and they just feel really, really nice. You've got this kind of strange kind of rubbery kind of finish to them, and just this kind of matte finish. The whole thing just sort of feels quality, feels really good. Again, you've got a kind of half coiled, half straight cable with a right angle jack. I do like a right angle jack on pretty much everything. They're not as repairable really as the other headphones here, as any of them. You've got obviously the actual cable itself is removable, that's fine, that's on the sort of locking mini jack again, and that's perfectly fine. But in terms of the actual internal cabling, you can't really do much with that. You can't take these out and sort of replace them very, very easily. You've got the cups there, so it all needs quite a bit of disassembly to actually get in there and sort this out. It's not the end of the world, and the thing that does generally go wrong with DJ headphones is the main cable. That is the main thing that will die as a rule. So it's not the end of the world, but they're just not quite as repairable in the field as the other headphones here. Sound quality wise, I'm a bit torn on these. Aiaiai, it actually says in the box that you're supposed to run these for about 24 hours, so at low volume. So just leave them and let them run, and that will sort of break them in, burn them in, and that will give you the optimum sound quality. I mean, I'm a bit perturbed by that in that, you're going to get them home and then you can't use them for a full day because you've got to run them for 24 hours to get decent sound. And I must say, they've now been in use for way more than 24 hours across myself and the other DJs who actually did gigs with them. And the sound just isn't quite there with the other headphones here on the test. There's something about the sort of upper mids that's just a little bit harsh. It's just sounds off compared to the more neutral sound of the HD25s or the Pioneers or even the Nocs. There's something about the upper end of it that just doesn't sound quite right. And it might be that I just haven't bedded them in enough still. As I say, they've been to multiple gigs with myself, few gigs with other DJs as well, and I did run them for about 12 hours when I first got them as well. Just left them running with a phone playing music for on repeat, and the sound just still isn't quite there. But as I say, it's a personal taste thing. I'm not going to dismiss them out of hand. Loads of people do use them. So what I would suggest with these is, if you want to try the TMA ones, you might want to go and actually test them in a store and just see how the sound works for you. It might be that a set that are on demo in the store have been running for a long, long time and they're fully burned in and they sound amazing. I mean, to me, I would say, if it's so important to burn them in, they should probably do that in the factory before they ship them to you. That's the way I sort of feel about it. But that's not to take away from the quality of these headphones. The little clicking mechanism to adjust them up and down, there is plenty of give side to side, and they are, as I say, very, very comfortable. The headband, there were sort of reports back in the day of the headbands kind of snapping. I've seen some in person that have snapped, but I think that was isolated to kind of a bad batch sort of back in the day. But in terms of the use I've had out of these so far, I would certainly feel confident using these at a gig and throwing them in a bag and not worrying about them too much, because they do feel really sturdy. Overall, yeah, very, very impressed. Just a slight reservation about the sound, and I hope that that's just maybe my experience. I hope that's something that they can will improve over time as they bed, and I will continue to use these and hopefully feedback at a later stage on that as well. So the last set we're looking at is the Sennheiser HD25. Oh no, hang on. That's the Pioneer. It's the Pioneer HDJ C70. Look, okay, I'm just messing, all right? We all know, we saw the press release go out on djtechtools.com. We saw that, and they are very, very similar to the HD25. I mean, just put them side by side in terms of the way they're put together, the design. You know, these are very much Pioneer's take on the HD25, and that's not a bad thing. You know, as I've discussed, they are an iconic design. Everyone loves them. So why not, you know, build on that a little bit? And they have built on it. It's different. The cups are a bit thicker. They're memory foam in the pads. You don't get a second set of pads with these, but they've got the sort of design that they reckon is taken from the HDJ 1500s or whatever to give you a little bit more isolation. And they do isolate very, very well. I mean, that's the one thing, comparing with all of these, I now use over-the-ear headphones as a rule. And going back to this HD25 style, I'm reminded just how good the isolation generally is. If I had to rate them isolation-wise, it's probably going to be the Pioneers, then the Sennheisers, then the Aiaiais, and then the Nocs. Don't quite isolate to my ears quite as well as any of the others here, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. You might prefer that more open thing, but that's the sort of the way it goes down. These do isolate very, very well indeed. The sound is very clear, very sort of lots of clarity there, lots of just openness and natural sound. You don't feel like you're losing any frequencies, much like the HD25s. They're very repairable. You are going to be able to get all the bits. The headband thing kind of pulls off there, and you've got the cable going through the middle, which again, you can replace that. You can replace the actual cups, that just pulls out, and you've got these little connectors in there to connect the cable with. So the cable itself won't come out. You can't lose the cable in transit or anything like that. It is attached, but it's easy to repair. They even throw in a little screwdriver for you to do that repair with and do that replacement with. They come with the straight cable and with a coil cable as well. Again, it's that kind of coiled and half straight, and you can see the sort of connection there, the actual way it clicks into the top of the headphone. Just go and show you around in the bottom there, rather. That's where that clicks into place, and that'll come out the bottom. So it's a nice bit of design, a really well put together, well engineered product. One thing that I will always, till the end of time, fault Pioneer about is straight jacks on their headphones. Pioneer make almost exclusively mixers with top mounted headphone sockets, and they never have right angle cables, and that just to me is just insane, because the amount of times that I've done it myself or I've seen other people with completely broken jacks and broken, you know, sockets in their mixers because they're sticking up like that and they're in the mix and they just knock it. It happens all the time. So why on earth Pioneer still don't put right angle jacks on their headphones, I will never understand that. As I say, as long as I live, I just don't get it. But overall, if you're looking for an alternative, something a little bit different from the HD25s, these are really, really good. I can't fault them. I've had no issues using them at gigs. All the other DJs I've given them to use have had nothing but good things to say about them. Mainly focused on the fact that they are kind of like HD25s. You know, there's a few other refinements in there that are slightly different. You've got the adjustable, so you can flip up one ear or both on these, whereas the HD25s, it's just the one. I didn't think anyone ever did that, and then I was saying that to another DJ and he said, oh yeah, I do that all the time, or I put that one up like that. So again, it just shows you the taste thing and how everyone's use is different and everything else. In terms of value, these are kind of roughly the same price as the HD25s, except they do come with the second cable in the box. So, and the replacement cables for the HD25s aren't that cheap. So actually, in terms of value, these are very much on the level with the HD25s, if not slightly better from that point of view. So there we go, that's 3 different HD25 kind of inspired headphones, along with the original HD25s that we looked at there. Now, you know, I think that ultimately the Sennheisers are kind of still kings of the jungle, really, simply because they are tried and tested. We know they work, and we know we can get parts for these at the drop of a hat. That's one thing that is very important. If you want a pair of headphones that's going to last you a decade, then the HD25s, you know, will do that, because you'll be able to get the pads and you'll be able to get the drivers and stuff. If you blow one, you'll be able to get the cables very, very easily wherever you are in the world. They are dependable from that point of view, and you know, they do sound great and they do feel great, they're comfortable. The Pioneers are definitely up there with the HD25s as far as I'm concerned. I really, really like the feel of them. I really like the sound. Great isolation. They are very good value in terms of their roughly equivalent price to the HD25s, but they come with 2 cables in there. You've got the coil and the straight one in there, so you won't need a replacement cable for a while, hopefully. So very good value, really like them. The Nocs are kind of old school retro vibes, not really my taste so much in terms of the actual styling, but in terms of the comfort factor, the actual sound is a little bit bassier. But if that's your taste, then, you know, I would certainly recommend these. They're going to last you a long time. You know, that metal headband just feels like indestructible, rock solid, superb. And again, good value, no complaints there. The TMA-1s, you know, I wish I liked the sound more. As it stands, after, you know, a good few gigs and a good few times playing out with these, I'm still not a massive fan of the sound. Other people seem to be, so perhaps that is just they need a little bit longer to bed in even now. But that's my only reservation really, and the fact that you can't really repair them quite so readily. But in terms of the actual comfort factor, the feel, you know, the way they actually feel when you're using them, they're so nice to use, so just, yeah, the comfort, it's just comfort. That's all I can say about these. They're really nice to use. And I don't think you'll go wrong with them. And certainly you might find that the sound is very much to your taste. It just, for me, it just needs a little bit more refinement in the sound. But overall, you know, I haven't looked at any over-ear kind of headphones here. This is very much an HD25 style Roundup. I don't think you can go really wrong with any of these. If I've got to pick a winner, it is still going to be the HD25s, just for that ecosystem. But, you know, in terms of all of these, you won't go wrong. So for all the tech specs and all that kind of detail, please check the written review at djtechtools.com, and thank you for watching.